That's right. Every primetime news on this 14th day of January, the year 2020 begins right now. Good evening and welcome aboard. My name is Kenneth. Kazungu.
All right, welcome to the broadcast once again. My name is Rachael Mbugua. Our sign language interpreter for tonight is Joyce Wairimu. Now, President Uhuru Kenyatta's latest reshuffle in his cabinet will see former Nyeri Senator Mutahi Kagwe make a grand return to the executive if approved by Parliament. In the changes announced at State House, Mombasa, President Kenyatta nominated Kagwe to head the health docket that was previously held by one Cecily Kariuki.
SMP. Kagwe was the chair of Parliamentary Committee on Finance, Trade, Tourism and Planning before his appointment as a cabinet minister under former President Mwai Kibaki's government. Kagwe later went on to become the first ever senator of Nyeri County in the lineup announcement from State House Mombasa during his State of the Nation address. The president has dropped Mr. Mwai Kiunjuri as Agriculture Cabinet Secretary and replaced Henry Rotich as the National Treasury boss. While the president did not make any reference to the two in his speech, he moved Peter Munya from the trade docket to replace Kiunjuri as he confirmed Ukuru Yatani as the National Treasury Cabinet Secretary. Betty Maina is the new industrialization minister. Monica Juma has been moved from Foreign Affairs to the Minister of Defense. Monica Juma has been moved from the Foreign Affairs Ministry to the Defense Ministry. Monica Juma has been moved from Foreign Affairs to the Defense Ministry, where she will switch places with Rachael Omamo. East African Community and Regional Development Cabinet Secretary Aden Mohamed and this devolution colleague Eugene Wamalwa as well as Najib Balal of Tourism were not affected. The president has also named new cabinet nominations in Mutahi Kagwe as CS Health, Betty Maina as CS Industrialization, John Weru as PS Trade, Dr. John Ouma as PS Vocational and Technical Training, Mary Kemonya as PS Public Service, Simon Nabuhwesi as PS University Education and Research, Solomon Kitungo as PS Transport, and Enoch Momanyi Onyango as PS Fiscal Planning. All these nominations are subject to Parliament approval.
All right, to the meat of that particular story, and immediate former Agriculture Cabinet Secretary, that is Mwangi Kiunjuri, has vowed not to be intimidated and or swayed over his political stand.
Now addressing the media moments after being fired by President Uhuru Kenyatta, Kiunjuri, who intimated that he is not surprised by his sacking, announced to continue with his political career and remain steadfast to the covenant he made with some leaders in the country.
Our political affairs reporter Jeff Haima attended Kiunjuri's final press briefing as CS and filed the following report.
Festus Mwangi Kiunjuri, walking majestically, becomes the second cabinet secretary to face the axe under President Uhuru Kenyatta's second term in the Jubilee administration. Okay. Just moments after President Uhuru Kenyatta fired Kiunjuri from his agriculture docket, Kiunjuri, a long-time politician, gathered enough strength by facing off with the head of state.
Tena haikunipata kwa mshtuko kuwa ati ameniweka kando, na nasikia furaha kwa roho yangu kwa sababu hiyo kazi imeisha, sasa naanzisha ingine, na kwa hivyo sijashtuka kwa ile msimamo wa rais.
In a bare knuckle statement, Kiunjuri explained a tough working relationship with President Uhuru Kenyatta that led to his ouster.
Having in the recent past gone through a most difficult year that on a number of occasions threatened my energy and resolve. Some of you know that I have endured a lot of humiliation, and only God and my immediate family know how this made me feel. Na ile ya muhimu zaidi kwa maisha ya mtu ni uzima wa mwili na afya bora.
For several occasions, President Uhuru Kenyatta confronted Mwangi Kiunjuri in public over the state of the agriculture ministry. while he presiding over the 2018 Nairobi Agricultural Show and the Mashujaa celebrations in Kakamega County. The fierce and angry President Uhuru Kenyatta issued a stern warning to Mwangi Kiunjuri over the loss of the public money meant to pay the maize farmers who had supplied to the National Cereals and the Produce Board NCPB. However, Mwangi Kiunjuri says he is innocent over what was happening in the ministry.
Ule mkulima ambaye ametoa jasho. I promise you and I swear before God, you try that again and you'll see what is going to happen to you. Sisi hatutaki mchezo tena. Na ndipo nilisema waziri wa kilimo Bwana Kiunjuri, tujue ya kwamba sasa mchezo umeisha. Tafuta hawa watu ambao wanakula mali ya wengine, utuletee tufunge, ama wewe mwenyewe utakuwa na shida katika hiyo shida mambo.
Mnajua mlango moja ikifungika mwingine inafunguka. Na dunia iko na mengi. Milima na maponde, kupanda na kushuka. Na kwa hivyo yote ambayo unapitia, shukuru Mungu.
Mwangi Kiunjuri did not close his next move after the sacking. He said he will keep a low profile, but warned against provocations.
Lakini nataka kuhakikishia siedi popote. Niko na nitakuwa mtaani, tutasema wakisema, na dunia itaendelea. Kwa maana nimekuwa kwa siasa kwa zaidi ya miaka 25. In fact, nimefanya siasa miaka mingi kuliko ile nimeishi hii dunia. Na nimeona mengi. Na wale wananijua, wanajua if you require a good general. Ukitaka jemedari ambaye hatakuwasha, mimi nitakuwa na wewe. Na yale nimeona na nimeamini na sukumana naye.
Mwangi Kiunjuri for several occasions has been termed as a friend to the Deputy President William Ruto, where he has been rallying the Mount Kenya leaders in opposing President Uhuru Kenyatta's friendship with the opposition leader Raila Odinga. However, he maintains to have a firm political stand.
Remember, for any action, there will be reaction. You keep it cool, I keep it cool. For any action, there will be reaction.
It remains unclear what Mwangi Kiunjuri is up to after the sacking. This is despite a fierce political debate over the change of the constitution through the Building Bridges Initiative BBI being drummed up by President Uhuru Kenyatta, Raila Odinga and William Ruto's allies. Reporting for Ebro TV, I'm Jeff Khaemba.
And of course, it is that story that, of course, brings us to our conversation with Edgar Kosgei, a governance expert and a political analyst, as to the president's address today from State House, Mombasa, what he meant and the story behind that particular story. But before we go deep into that conversation, thank you very much, Edgar, for joining us. But before we get into the conversation, let us get a feel of what Kenyans feel about the decision by President Uhuru Kenyatta to send Mwangi Kiunjuri packing as Agriculture Cabinet Secretary. Let's get that right now.
SMP
has, as per the Constitution, has the authority to change the cabinet as and whenever he wants. Therefore, I'm sure he may, of course, by his wisdom, he may have come up with those he thinks will help him run the government. Why Kiunjuri was not included in the current cabinet, we can't mention, we can't comment at this point because we don't know.
We are happy once again that he have elected one of us, Mr. Mutahi Kagwe. He is now the Minister for Health, so we congratulate him. And we say, as I have said earlier, Mr. Uhuru Kenyatta is the head of the state, and we cannot comment on him on sacking Mr. Kiunjuri.
Amevuta Mwangi Kiunjuri aliyekuwa CS, wakasema sijui, lakini mambo isikuwe ni political. Juzi tumeona Kiunjuri akienda kwa matanga ama kwa mazishi ya kina mamake Gachagua. Hiyo wakati Kiunjuri alisema akasema kwamba yeye ako nyuma ya Deputy President. Hapo ndo tunaona kama mambo imetokelezea. Na ndio maana ameanza kuona wewe ukiwa watagataga waanze kusema mambo ya Ruto, rais anakutafutia venye anaweza kuondoa hapo.
Mtu naitwa Kiunjuri, kama yeye hafuati menendo ya serikali na yeye anapiga ile maneno inaendelea na serikali. Hata mambo ya mahindi ile ilikuwa na yalipea kiti ya agriculture. Yeye mwenyewe hakufanya kazi vile Uhuru alikuwa anataka. Kwa hivyo mimi nasema yeye angestahili kwenda nyumbani. Angestahili kwenda nyumbani hata si leo, angeenda hata kesho.
We've had reactions there by a section of farmers saying hata angeenda leo. I thought he meant to say angeenda jana, but he said angeenda kesho. Edgar Kosgei now joins us for that particular conversation tonight. And what a day has it been today? The president addressing the nation from the State House in Mombasa. He has spoke an array of issues, but I want us to close in on the economic and the politics around his address today. And the first story that came out, Mr. Kosgei, is the firing of Mwangi Kiunjuri as Agriculture Cabinet Secretary. First of all, I would like to get your comments about that. What do you feel about the sacking of Mwangi Kiunjuri?
First and foremost, thank you for having me. Yes. First and foremost, the president started with the economic view of the country. And at the end of it now, then we saw the firing of Mwangi Kiunjuri. Mwangi Kiunjuri, many people feel that it is politically motivated, that he has not been with the on the right path with the president, and now the time for payback is now. There are many ministers who are thought to be underperforming, but they have not been fired, they have been moved. Now, this is being thought as a payback time, as now the president is cracking the whip. That is the feeling on the ground. Yeah, that is the feeling on the ground.
All right, and we saw that press conference by Mwangi Kiunjuri a few hours after he was fired. And Edgar, you saw his body language. It doesn't look like he's wavering in any case. Of course, at some point he said that in every action, you should expect a reaction.
Yes.
What do you make of that? He's saying that the firing didn't catch him by surprise. He's actually said he's relieved now. What do you make of his comments after his firing?
Well, the firing was expected because there is a perceived rift. And both of them are denying that there is a rift between the president and the deputy. But there is a perceived rift, and Kiunjuri was on the other side of the rift. This person has been waiting for this because they have not been seeing eye to eye with the president. So he's been waiting for a very long time. And many people are aware that they might be victimized too. And we saw in his appointments that the appointments headed to the Kieleweke side. Those who benefited most are the Kieleweke side, to say the truth.
From the likes of the Taika.
Yes.
Let us look at Mwangi Kiunjuri and his journey in cabinet. We understand that Mwangi Kiunjuri was vying for Laikipia governor seat. The president told him no. Once the elections are over, I'll give you a position. He came into cabinet as the Minister for Devolution, one of the most powerful dockets. At that particular point in time, he looked to be so cozy and so close to the president. And look at him now. I mean, it's barely 3 years now, and it looks like he's not seeing eye to eye with the president. And the common factor here seems to be the fact that Mwangi Kiunjuri has cozied up to Deputy President William Ruto, and the fact that he's one of the Deputy President William Ruto's key allies in the Mount Kenya region. Do you think that is a factor that made the president show him the door?
Well, to say the truth, what is happening on the ground? Sometimes we usually don't want to say the truth, but to say the truth, this happened because of the rift, because of the deputy president's, him being the ally of the deputy president. Just like the Moses Kuria, when he was saying, take me back if you're fighting me because of the deputy president. So Mwangi Kiunjuri's was, to say the truth, has been because of his alignment to the other side of the rift. Let's not beat about the subject. Let's not go around. And politically, the president is allowed. He is allowed to do that. And politically, the president is allowed to make a certain move that will be unfair to you, and people will feel it's unfair. But politically, he is allowed. Yes.
Let us look at that particular press conference by Mwangi Kiunjuri. One of the things he also said is that he's not going anywhere.
Yes.
And pundits read it as the fact that he was fired today actually has given him the relief now that he can go to the grassroots and practice politics without having the fear of being a cabinet minister, and actually advance his political agenda without fearing what the president might say actually. Would that be a position you would also concur with?
Yes. It has removed from him the responsibility of responding to the president because he's a presidential appointee. So the cabinet responsibilities and the fact that, you know, that bendera, that the flag would gag you from not saying many things about the president. Now, the Mount Kenya region is perceived to be shifting ground. So it will give Kiunjuri now the ground to walk around, drumming support for the deputy president. Now, what awaits us right now is the reaction of the deputy president to all these things happening. He might come out and say, there's nothing happening. Everything is fine. He might come out and address the press conference too, if he feels that Kenyans are seeing through what is happening. So now people are waiting for his next move to support his lieutenants, like Moses Kuria. He came out for Moses Kuria. And now, I don't know how he's going to react about Mwangi Kiunjuri. We are waiting for his reaction now. Yeah.
I understand that the Mwangi Kiunjuri has been overdrive ever since the BBI launch report, but we'll be coming to BBI. I want us to look at one of the economic angles of the president's speech today. And one thing he said, Edgar, is what he intends to do in the next few months is to ensure that he puts more money into Kenyans' pockets, with, more so figures. The biggest question would be, why has the president come to that realization that Kenyans need more money in their pockets now? Why now?
No, there's a question that was asked. There's a question that he asked that he was like, I don't know why you people don't have money.
Why are Kenyans broke? He didn't understand that.
Yeah, I was about to make something light about it, but this is prime time. Now, he's talking about, just to mention a few, he's talking about an infrastructural bond of 150 billion, which is going to pay the contractors. He is also talking about there are 5 banks which are going to offer Stawi, and then to pour money into the economy. He is also talking about the tea. Now, the tea is touching the Kalenjin nation. Now, let me just look at it politically. Is touching Bomet, Kericho, Nandi. We have been having problems. I come from that region. We've been having problems about tea. You have tea in your farm, and the maximum price sometimes you can get is 21 shillings. When you go to the auction in Mombasa, it's at 90. So if that problem is solved, it is going to sell the president in that region. Now, deal with Kericho and stuff. Limuru. Some parts of central Kenya, those people who grow tea. People have been complaining about tea, and they've been complaining about coffee. So if you can sort the problems of coffee and tea, then you have touched the local mwananchi. This is a political move. I can see it as a political move.
The Rift Valley is trying to solve the political problems without involving the deputy president.
Yes.
Okay, one thing you also spoke about today is the other big elephant in the room, Bwana Edgar, and that is the attacks on the judiciary.
Yes.
He gave an example saying the judiciary, it's high time the judiciary gives indications that they are winning the war on corruption.
Yes.
But one angle he brought out was about the Akasha case.
Yes, Akasha
we understand that the Akashas have been free in this country.
Yes.
They were apprehended in 2017, taken to the US, and as soon as last Saturday, one of the Akasha's family kin were given 25 years in prison.
Yes.
What would you say about that? Because this is multifaceted. First of all, he threw attacks against the judiciary, where the government has been accused of not obeying court orders.
Of course.
Now wants the judiciary to be on overdrive to ensure that the war on corruption is being won. What are your reactions on that, Bwana Kosgei?
Now, I would start with how the director of public prosecution should run his affairs. Maraga one time was quoted saying, and I remember it was in Bomas, he was saying that, bring me a watertight case, and we will prosecute in terms of what the case is saying. So the cases have been thrown out most of the time because the evidence are insufficient. Evidences are insufficient. Now, that was the argument of Maraga. So if the president makes sure that the case against people is so obvious that someone is going down, then he can now be able to blame the courts that they are not doing their work. Maraga will come out tomorrow and say, bring us cases which you can prosecute. Now, about the Akasha case, it's a different one, because there are some even judges who are being accused of taking bribes.
Okay. Well, Edgar, 1 minute only, because you're totally out of time.
Yes.
One thing that has come out clearly from the president's speech, and what most Kenyans say the president missed in his speech, is the fact that in the first 2 weeks of the year 2020, we've had about several Al-Shabaab attacks. 11 people have died, and the president has mentioned nothing about that. What would you say about that as we wind up?
There was a change today, and Ambassador Monica has been moved to the defense. But the Al-Shabaab menace in Kenya should be looked into by Matiang'i. Matiang'i is in charge of the docket of security in the country. And I think Matiang'i should be put to task on whether we are safe or not.
Okay.
It should be an honest conversation about Matiang'i and his team, because we are dying.
Okay.
And the president should have addressed that one, Kenneth.
Okay, thank you very much, Edgar Kosgei, a political and governance analyst. We have a lot to speak about, but of course, for the interest of time, much more stories have to continue. And of course, we want to go to the next story now. And of course, speaking on the auspices of that particular address, and President Uhuru Kenyatta has of course directed the Ministry of Health to immediately halt the new changes at the NHIF, which continues to cause uproar among Kenyans. In his address to the nation, and in breaking his silence for the first time over the issue, the president intimated that the changes go against gains made in his quest to provide universal health coverage for all Kenyans.
The president's directive comes barely days after the national insurer released a raft of stringent rules that they say is to curb cases of defaulting by the voluntary contributors. The changes proposed by NHIF proposes an upfront payment for up to 1 year for self-employed Kenyans who join the insurance fund, and a waiting period of up to 90 days before they can access health services with the card. The new packages that had taken effect on January 1st, 2020, had said all married individuals would only be allowed to enlist a single spouse and a maximum of 5 children as beneficiaries. In addition to the recommendations, if one makes a late payment, he or she will incur a fine of 50% of the monthly contribution, coupled with a requirement to pay for 1 year in advance. He or she will be restricted against claiming benefits for a period of 30 days. This directive has attracted condemnation from Kenyans and leaders alike, who argue that they would bring more harm than good.
My administration's commitment to providing affordable health care, I am today directing the Ministry of Health to immediately halt the implementation of this proposal to allow for further consultation.
The directive from the president now stops NHIF from implementing the new packages that had taken effect on January 1st, 2020. The president explained that the move will pave way for further consultations following public outcry.
You may save that year, but a problem before your rule imachiwe upewe ile ka simona ni utakomenda sana.
Furthermore, hata ukilipa hiyo punch zote uende hosi, bado you have to add some more money. Lazima utalipa zingine. Ukikosa bado wanapiganga mtu penalty. It's not fair by the si fair.
Kwa hivyo nikukonjeka mimi sitapata usaidizi. Watu angalie kama sisi wale watu wenye tuko mapipi wa pili. watuangalie hapo.
Murang'a woman representative Sabina Chege, Kiambu Member of Parliament Jude Njomo, and a host of other legislators have rejected the new regulations, saying the rules were illegal as they had not been approved by the Parliament. NHIF's acting head of registration, R.O. Otom, imposed new regulations with punitive measures to deter defaulting in monthly contributions. Winnie Lubembe for Ebru TV.
Now, moving on, a war of words is in the offing between the executive and the judiciary after the president called out the judiciary for failing to effectively help in the fight against drug trafficking and corruption.
The president accused the judiciary of failing to convict drug peddlers and corrupt individuals.
Here's our reporter now, Abdiaziz Hashim, with more details on that story.
It is the failure by the Kenyan courts that failed to prosecute and convict the Akasha family, who are suspected of drug peddling, a decision that baffled many in the country. The Akasha brothers were taken to the United States of America to face charges against them. Both Baktash and Ibrahim Akasha were sentenced to 25 and 23 years respectively. And today, during the president's address to the nation, the commander-in-chief once more took a swipe at the judiciary over the failure to help in the war against the vices.
Now the judiciary should give us convictions as an indication that we are winning this war. And to that extent, I think it is a shame on our country that we prosecuted a case against drug traffickers in our country, and we couldn't get a prosecution.
The president's pronouncement is likely to attract criticism from the third arm of the government. The president's speech coincided with the Chief Justice David Maraga's event, where reporters posed the question to the CJ, but all we got is silence.
And within a year of them being arraigned in the United States, they have been jailed for no less than 25 years. That is something that our judiciary should come to terms with.
The president noted that the court in the state had handled the Akasha brothers' case faster, while in Kenya, the Akasha family had turned the government system into their playfield. The war of words between the executive and the judiciary has been on and off, denting a relationship of four government institutions that ought to work together.
Any society, any government is being governed by the rule of law. And it is high time we realize that, because if we don't realize that a society needs to be governed by a rule of law, that is when we are going to have maladaptive behaviors. And when maladaptive behaviors come in our society, the society is going to collapse. And when the society collapses, then we are going to have a banana republic.
In the past, the judiciary had accused the executive of stifling its independence and denying them the much-desired financial freedom. Abdiaziz Hashim, Ebru TV.
All right, we take a very short break, but when we come back, we'll be telling you how the Energy Regulatory Authority has increased the fuel prices, of course, how motorists will be affected. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back. Thank you for staying with us.
Yeah.
Now, Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Mbugua has castigated the community living around the Kamuthe area in Garissa County over the death of 3 teachers.
Now, the CS has sensationally said that the community knew about the plan but kept it a secret.
The killing of 3 teachers by suspected members of the Al-Shabaab terror outfit might have been the latest in a series of recent attacks, but to Education CS George Mbugua, the attack has its uniqueness.
And that the local community must now be interrogated. They must be interrogated because teachers must go and teach anywhere they want to teach. We can't be afraid. This is our country.
Mbugua condemning the Kamuthe boarding primary attack, saying that the community is to blame for cover-up of information regarding the terror group.
Security, I believe, will be beefed up in those areas, but I would want to see a little bit more than that security, because the local people around the school must now tell us why they did not work to protect the teachers who have gone to sacrifice on their behalf. It's as simple as that.
Speaking in Machakos Boys High School, where he was supervising the Form 1 admission, Mbugua said that the community is working with the terrorists as they cannot purport to not have been aware of the attack. He has now assured residents that security will be beefed up in the area, but the locals must come out and ensure that they help security agencies in curbing such incidences.
If I'm posted to Mandera now, I shall go there. And with Christ in front and at the back, I shall succeed there. Because the only God who will decide when I will die. So let those teachers remain in peace, because I think the government is very aware. You may think you are coming back to a relative safety and you die on your bed.
The 3 teachers were killed in a pre-dawn strike on Monday, with Garissa County Regional Education Officer Yusuf Karayu confirming the same, adding that one was injured. The injured teacher was rushed to Garissa Referral Hospital. Eric Mnene, Ebru TV.
Kufungua mlango nikaona watu hapa hivi. Zingine nikasikia.
Now, motorists in Kenya are expected to pay more fuel starting midnight, with fuel prices rising slightly on high import bill.
According to the monthly fuel prices released by the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority, or EPRA, petrol prices rose slightly by 70 cents, diesel by 54 cents, and kerosene by 1 shilling and 64 cents compared to last month.
This is expected to exert little pressure on the cost of living in the country as importers pass the increased import bill to consumers. Motorists in Nairobi will pay 110 shillings and 20 cents for a litre of petrol and 102 shillings and 32 cents for a litre of diesel and 103 shillings and 95 cents for kerosene. Those in Mombasa will pay the least amount of fuel in the country starting midnight, with a litre of petrol retailing at 108 shillings and 15 cents, diesel 100 shillings and 27 cents, and kerosene at 101 shillings and 91 cents. Motorists in Moyale will pay highest amount for fuel in the country in the next 30 days, with a litre of petrol going for 123 shillings and 6 cents, diesel at 115 shillings and 17 cents, and kerosene at 116 shillings and 82 cents. According to EPRA, diesel increased by 1.73% from 485.29 per cubic meter to 493.68 per cubic meter, while kerosene rose by 5.75% from 481.11 per cubic meter to 508.77 per cubic meter. The increase in fuel prices was despite the shilling strengthened against the dollar over the same period, appreciating by 0.86 per from 102 shillings and 20 cents in November 2019 to 101 and 32 cents per in December. Fuel prices are expected to rise even higher next month as the effects of the US and Iran conflict come into play. Early this month, US killed Iran commander in a drone attack, sparking tension in the Middle East, the region that imports most of the global oil. The killing saw global barrels prices spike at least 3% to 7,000 shillings, the highest level since the mid-September attack of Saudi oil facilities. Njeri Njogu for Ebru TV.
To a very bizarre story now coming out of Mombasa County, and a court in that particular county is this Friday expected to hear a case of a grandfather accused of sexually abusing her 13-year-old granddaughter at Changamwe in Mombasa County.
Now, this is after the case failed to take off on Monday. Take a look.
The case was set for hearing today but was postponed because the police and the doctor's report was not available in the case file. The accused grandfather, Athmani Hamisi Juma, was arraigned before Mombasa Senior Magistrate Rita Amwai at the Mombasa County Law Courts. According to the charge sheet, Athmani is accused of defiling and sodomizing her granddaughter, who is 13 years old, on 6 January in Changamwe constituency. The DPP officer, Nina Opio, asked the court to be granted 3 more days to hold the suspect for the prosecution to complete its investigation process. The granddaughter had sat for last year's KCPE exams and was expected to join Form 1 during the ongoing intake. Upon his arrest, the accused person was held at Changamwe police station. The Mombasa woman leader, who doubles as a politician and girl child rights activist, Ms. Zamzam Mohammed, condemned the incident and urged the judiciary to speed up the case so that the minor can get justice.
Babu yake amemlawiti tena anatumia sehemu zote mbili. For like 3 years mtoto amekuwa akifanyiwa hivyo mpaka mwisho amechoka. Jamani, sisi tunauliza, what happened to humanity? Ikiwa guardian ndo atakuja kufanya mambo kama haya, yule mtoto ni mdogo, ima pengine atakuwa amempa maradhi, pengine apate ujauzito, njia yake ya kujifungua ni ndogo, mtoto aweza kuwa stigmatized. Tunaangalia watoto wengine wanachukua hatua ya kujimaliza, kujiua.
The woman leader vowed to make sure the minor gets the justice she deserves and condemned those who are against the prosecution of the suspect by trying to cover it up.
We have so many cases, but we are asking the judicial system to be fast in taking action. Kwa sababu kesi zinasukumwa, unapata mtoto mahali yuko hana furaha, hajapata haki yake, na huyu mtoto kwanza haswa ni yatima ambaye alikuwa amemtegemea ni huyu mzee. Jambo hili linasikitisha sana. Mimi ningeomba serikali, kesi kama hizi tuongee na judges wetu, wao wanafanya haraka, haki inatendeka. Na mimi ningesema watu kama hawa wao wanachukuliwa hatua kali sana, iwe funzo kwao na kwa wengine ambao wanafanya vitendo hivi. Na hata nimepanga na vyombo vya habari pia, wengine wako ambao wananisaidia, wanaenda secretly katika haya madrasa na katika churches. Kuna watoto wanafanyiwa hivi na viongozi wa dini. Watoto wameenda kusoma, wanafanyiwa hivi.
Busara Naman for Ebru TV.
Quite bizarre indeed.
Yeah,
considering that such things happening in 2020 is very disturbing.
Yeah.
But if you thought that's a bizarre story, let me tell you about this other one. And fear and anxiety looms over the Kabazi village in Subukia, that is in Nakuru County, after a middle-aged man allegedly committed suicide in unclear circumstances.
Now, his death comes hardly a week after a 14-year-old boy who was awaiting admission to secondary school took his life just 500 meters away from the area of the current tragedy.
Residents say they were baffled at the discovery of 34-year-old Sami Kagoro's body dangling from the roof of his house where he lives alone. Nelson Gitonga, who's a villager in the area, described the deceased as a hard-working peasant farmer, a peaceful man, and a friend to all in the village of 500 people.
Ni jambo ambalo limetuhuzunisha katika kama wakazi wa eneo la Kabazi. Na mimi ningeomba viongozi, wachungaji, wazee wa nyumba kumi tukae chini tuwasaidie vijana ambao wanajinyonga. Tumeanza uchunguzi kwa sababu ya wale vijana wanajinyonga, kwa sababu ukiangalia katika Nakuru County wale vijana wengi wanajiua katika eneo la Kabazi.
Gitonga says since suicide is a subject of debate in the area, many other cases have gone unreported, and this is increasingly becoming a poignant matter among villagers. Police from the nearby Kabazi police station transferred the body of the deceased to Bahati Hospital mortuary for autopsy and preservation. Shocked relatives could not attribute the suicide to anything but could only describe the deceased as a calm person who sought no trouble. Meanwhile, the distraught family of the minor is preparing a burial ceremony later this week. Incidents of suicide and homicide have become regular occurrences in recent days in the region, and psychologists ascribe these to depression and other forms of mental illnesses that need to be identified early among victims for timely assistance. Consultant psychologist and counsellor Thuku says county and national governments must empower more people to provide counselling services to the people in villages who, he says, contend with depression.
Kusanyika hapa watu wengi, watu wa kijiji, so na tukaongea na tukaona ni ya kwamba ni vizuri watu viongozi na watu wa kijiji, wahubiri wote, ni vizuri tuungane mikono na ni vizuri tushikane mikono ili tuweze tujue solution ama suluhisho ya jambo kama hili.
The psychologist is calling on people to be each other's keeper and look out for possible signs of depression and turn them over to a professional or the clergy for counseling. Thuku also urges the clergy to volunteer counseling services in an effort to help individuals suffering from depression. For Ebru News, I'm Musa Amir.
Quite sad indeed. But that story from the county is now captured for the main news. Let's take a very short break. When we come back, we'll be telling you of the business angle to that President Uhuru Kenyatta's address today. You want to stick around for that.
Now, President Uhuru Kenyatta has expressed optimism over the removal of interest rate cap, saying it will facilitate availability of more credit.
And in the same breath, the president has directed the National Treasury to allocate funds to safeguard the high yield of farm produce in the country.
Commercial banks in Kenya have repeatedly blamed the rate cap for the declining access to credit. While addressing the nation, President Kenyatta said the removal of interest rate cap will help ease doing of business and facilitate availability of credit to businesses.
The removal, therefore, of the interest rate cap in November last year will facilitate the availability of more credit to businesses.
Due to high yield in rice, maize and banana products, the president has directed National Treasury to facilitate the purchase and storage and also preserve the milk for the future.
I have directed the National Treasury to release 500 million shillings to the new KCC to purchase excess milk from farmers and to convert this milk into powder for future use.
Ministry of Agriculture and the Ministry of Trade and Industry has been directed to finalize and gazette the tea regulations.
So going forward, I have directed the National Treasury, the Ministry of Trade and Industry, the Ministry of Agriculture, and the Attorney General to finalize and gazette the newly developed Tea Regulation 2019 within the next 2 weeks.
SMEs will see an interest rate of 9% per annum in loan amounts, which will benefit the small and large-scale businesses in the country, giving more room for self-employment.
5 commercial banks in Kenya have set aside 10 billion shillings to be lent to MSMEs at an interest rate of 9% per annum in loan amounts ranging between 30,000 to 250,000 shillings.
Reporting for Ebru TV, I'm Kaindo Stefano.
Now, moving on, telecommunication company and Gas have announced the launch of a revolutionary prepaid gas service for Kenyan households.
The innovation will empower millions of Kenyan homes to enjoy access to clean, affordable and reliable cooking gas, providing them with the flexibility of purchasing gas based on their needs and how much they can afford at any given time.
Gas is tackling existing access barriers to clean cooking by eradicating both the upfront cost required for gas cylinder and gas cooker more often than 6,000 shillings and the high refill cost of 2,000 shillings per cylinder. Each gas setup will include a gas cylinder and a 2-burner gas cooker, which will be provided to customers at an upfront cost. The gas cylinder will come equipped with an innovative smarter meter that will show how much gas a customer has paid for and how much they have to remain. Payments will be made through M-Pesa, with the gas automatically disconnecting when a customer has completely consumed for the amount paid for. Safaricom is extending its digital and payment capabilities to gas, powering the smart meter technology on each cylinder that enables customers to have control over how they use and pay for gas. Customers will have the flexibility of purchasing gas from as low as 1 shilling through M-Pesa, with the cost of providing 3 meals for households coming at less than 70 shillings per day. Gas users will no longer have to grapple with the hassle of managing the replenishment of empty cylinders, and the smarter meters sends an alert to M-Gas whenever the gas is low. In addition to making gas affordable to more Kenyans, M-Gas will provide millions of Kenyans with the privilege of smoking-free cooking, eliminating the health challenges caused by reliance on smoke-emitting fuels. According to the World Health Organization, respiratory infections are among the world's leading cause of premature death, with household air pollution from fuels attributed to more than 15,000 early deaths in Kenya every year. Wood and charcoal fires are among the leading emitters of the deadly particulate matter, responsible for pollution-related complications even ahead of diesel. Njeri Njogu for Every TV.
All right, it's not that time for us to get sporty with the world of sports.
Stick around for that.
Our Sports Principal Secretary PS Ambassador Kirimi Kaberia has been moved to the Ministry of Mining under a similar position according to cabinet reshuffles announced by President Uhuru Kenyatta.
Now, Joe Kudo is the new PS of the Sports Ministry, moving from the Tourism Ministry where he held a similar capacity. Ambassador Amina Mohammed retains a post as Sports Cabinet Secretary. During his tenure at the sports docket as PS, Kaberia has severally clashed with sports federations over national teams' fundings. Moving on, 48 teams from the KPL, NSL, Division 1 and 2 leagues get in action this year for the FKF Cup, aiming to grab a ticket to represent Kenya in the CAF Confederation Cup.
Now, this year's edition cup has been, however, boosted by one of the betting firms in Kenya who have injected 45 million shillings that will run for 3 years.
Davis Mberia, who attended the unveiling, has more details on this story.
Not celebrated. FC Leopard.
It seems to be one of the toughest times for the Kenyan football after big share sponsors pulled out. Nonetheless, there is some hope for the FKF Cup.
It's a 3-year deal, 15 million a year, 3-year deal, which will see the cup become the Betway FKF Cup. For these 3 years, we want to escalate that and make it bigger.
The tournament, which is staged every year with the champion securing a ticket to represent Kenya continentally, has increased the number of participating teams that come from the National League to the grassroots.
As usual, the way we do. It gives a chance to the smaller teams to compete with the bigger teams and to represent Kenya in the CAF Confederation Cup that has changed now and which will start every year in August. So we'll have a champion, I believe, by end of May. And then in August, we will have the champion represent Kenya in the CAF Confederation Cup.
But for the talents to star and steer the country at the global front, the government has been urged to support soccer financially.
As you can see now in Kenya, we are having a challenge. The Sugar Belt is having challenges in football. The Sugar Belt had really supported football. You can see the clubs there having challenges because the belt itself has issues. So I'd like to ask government to look at it, because without the companies in Sugar Belt supporting those clubs, inevitably they will go down. Every club requires financial support.
Let us work together to see that Kenya really becomes one of the giants of football in our continent, like we are in athletics. Of course, thanks to people from my region in Kenya. But I think there is, without doubt, a huge opportunity for Kenya to up its game in football.
In the draws that were done today, Division 1 and 2 teams will face each other, with the winner now battling KPL or NSL side clubs.
The winner of that match will meet Posta Rangers.
Bandari FC, who are the defending champions, represented Kenya in the CAF Confederation Cup 2019 for the first time after 4 years, courtesy of a 3-1 win over Kariobangi Sharks. This year, they will face the winner between Reunion FC and KSG FC, who play in round 1. Well, 32 teams will be battling to get a slot in the continental soccer to represent Kenya. And now, the first round of this cup kicks off this weekend, with the second round being played on 15th and 16th of February this year. Reporting for Ebru TV Sports, I'm Davis Mberia.
Davis, thank you for that. But to some golfing action now, and round 3 action of the Muthaiga Golf Club Safari Tour leg is currently underway at the Muthaiga Club.
Now, Muthaiga Golf Club's Greg Snow returned an impressive round score of 4 under par 68 to take his gross score to 1 under par 141 to hand him the outright lead after round 2 action on Monday. The lead left Snow sitting 2 shots ahead of Vet Club's Geoffrey Makoha. The focus now on a stake of the 1 million shillings prize money and the road to the 2020 Magical Kenya Open points.
I'm swinging well. My irons, I had a problem of my irons, but now they've been fixed up, so I'm swinging well at the moment. Expectation for tomorrow, I'll just come in, by God wishes, tomorrow I'll just do the same again and get some few more under pars.
Well, that is every PrimeTime news on this 14th day of January, the year 2020. My name is Kenneth Kazungu, but before I leave, this, of course, is the first time we're doing this together.
Oh, yeah, this year.
This brand new year. And I just was wondering, how is 2020 taking you along?
Great so far. So far, so good. I know many people are complaining how January will be long, but, well, so far, so good.
And you know in the next 3 hours we'll be in the other half of January.
Oh, yeah. By the way, my birthday is next week, Kazungu. Better do something.
My name is Kenneth Kazungu. On behalf of the super amazing team that has helped put this bulletin together, thank you so much, Kenneth, for watching, and good night.
Thank you so much for choosing Every to inform you. My name is Rachael Mbugua. Our sign language interpreter for tonight has been Joyce Wairimo. Now leave you with a weather forecast. Have a lovely night.